How do you make your villain a villain without actually showing them doing something terrible? My name is Gina. I'm an author, editor, publishing professional. I help you make your writing better. The villain is just the character whose goal is at odds with your protagonist. Now, this can be someone who is truly heinous and truly villainous. And in order for us to believe that they are villainous, we have to either see them doing something or we have to see the consequences of their actions, that they have ruined the planet or ruined the galaxy or whatever. But people often use this term villain to refer to somebody who is the antagonist, and they can just be at cross purposes with your hero. Now, this question does specifically say we want a villain to feel threatening without actually showing them doing something horrific. And that's where we're going to go back to the thing that I said a second ago, that you're going to show the consequences of their actions. We don't necessarily need to see them do the bad thing if we see the consequences of their actions. If you have a big, bad, evil politician who has enacted terrible policies that have had awful repercussions throughout your community, you can just show that community without ever showing that person doing something themselves reprehensible or bad. You can even see this in like the romance genre, in which we often have, and I'm going to use heteronormative terms because this is the way that we see it painted most often, particularly on film, where you have a woman who has fallen in love with a man, but he is with another woman, and that woman is seen as a threat. She is the villain in this story, even though she hasn't done anything wrong. She just is in a relationship with a person who loves somebody else or who is falling in love with somebody else. And so her goal of staying in that relationship is at cross purposes with our protagonist. They cannot both succeed. One of them has to be defeated. And so we start to see her as a threat to our protagonist's happiness. And we start to see her actions as negative, as bad, as villainous, as evil, even though she, again, has not done anything wrong or bad or evil. You can take that and extrapolate it out to other genres. You can apply this to other things. Whose goals are at a cross purposes with your protagonist, that becomes your antagonist. Now, whether or not you're going to call them a villain is going to depend on the way that you refer to your story and what the repercussions are for their decisions. If this woman in this story decides that she is going to keep a hold of this man absolutely no matter what, even if he's not happy and there's no other reason for it, she just wants to control him, well, now she is doing something villainous. Is it horrific? I don't know. That is a subjective term. So step one is to put them at odds and at cross purposes with your protagonist. And the second thing, if you don't want to show them doing something bad, but you want them to actually be bad people, then you can show the repercussions of those actions without actually necessarily showing the actions themselves.